Have you ever noticed how women look at you differently at certain times, even when you're not saying anything or trying to get their attention? And have you realized that some days you seem invisible? The difference isn't in your haircut or your clothes. It's in your energy. More specifically, the energy you conserve or waste. Society instills in men the idea that they must frequently release their sexual energy, as if it were good for their health. But what no one tells them is that the more exhausted they become, the less presence they have. And women, even without understanding it rationally, sense it. They don't react to your words, but to what you project. You may have the same face, the same body, the same voice, but when you accumulate energy, the world perceives you differently. Your energy field transforms, your gaze intensifies, your aura strengthens, your presence is felt effortlessly. In this video, you will understand why. We will discuss sexual energy as a magnetic field, retention as a spiritual tool, and the invisible power that manifests when you learn to protect your essence. If you want to understand why they feel something, even when you say nothing, and how to use that consciously, without manipulation, watch until the end. This video isn't about conquest, but about presence. And that changes everything. Modern men are constantly trying to appear more interesting. Gym memberships, designer clothes, cars, social status, and cheesy lines to impress. But there is one thing none of this can create: the aura. The aura is not some mystical invention. It is the subtle energy field you carry within you when you enter a place. And every woman, consciously or unconsciously, senses it. Before you even say hello, she has already perceived who you are. Because you don't just convey words, you convey what you have accumulated within. And here is a truth that almost no one wants to accept. A man without accumulated energy is invisible. His aura is weak, his presence empty, his gaze veiled, and everything screams something is missing. Now, let's consider the opposite. Men who speak little, who walk in silence, but who seem to occupy more space than others, who have no need to conquer, only to be. These men cultivated something exceptional, a density of energy. How is it cultivated? Through restraint, the mastery of pleasure, inner silence, and the renunciation of haste and distraction. Every time you choose not to impulsively waste your energy, it concentrates within you, it rises along your spine, strengthens your gaze and calms your anxiety. Women perceive it as mystery, authority, security. Although they can't explain it, the masculine aura is like an invisible magnetic field. It attracts or repels, commands or dissolves, and it can't be faked. It must be cultivated. That's why so many men complain, "I did everything right and she ignored me. I was polite, kind, handsome, and nothing made a difference." Because what was lacking wasn't looks, but presence. The energy you invest daily in videos, fantasies, and solitary desires is the same energy that could shape your aura. Your energy, your silent identity. True masculine magnetism doesn't come from spectacle, but from restraint, from the man who holds back instead of giving himself completely, who channels instead of seeking release. The more you cultivate this energy within yourself, the more people will notice it, even if they don't understand it. They observe, react, open up, or distance themselves because the aura is the first sign, and it doesn't lie. You may have studied everything there is to know about seduction, but if your energy is low, your body speaks louder, and what it's saying is, "I don't belong to myself." Therefore, remember this principle. Masculine aura cannot be bought. It is cultivated and takes shape in the quiet discipline. There is a moment in a man's life that marks a turning point. Almost imperceptible, yet profoundly real. It is the moment when he decides to stop exhausting himself. Not out of fear, not out of moralism, but because he has finally understood that there is something greater to build with that energy. And then something changes. At first, you don't notice it. But after a few days, maybe a few weeks, the world starts to react differently. People look more, listen more attentively, or even become agitated for no apparent reason. It's because you feel fully present. This presence creates a density in your field of vision that you can't ignore. His voice grows in intensity. His gaze no longer flits from one stimulus to another. His presence affirms, "I am here and I am whole." Most men lead fragmented lives. Part of their energy dissipates in their cell phones, another part in their memories, yet another in the anguish of the pursuit of pleasure. They move, but they don't occupy space. They speak, but they don't convey the truth. They touch, leaving no trace. The man who stops emptying himself, on the other hand, reconnects with himself, and this inner intimacy overflows. Women perceive it first, not through words, but instinctively. They sense that there is something solid there, something that seeks neither to please, nor to prove itself, nor to conquer, something that is already whole. And the paradox is this: the less you seek attention, the more you attract it, because the world reacts to the environment, not to effort. You can remain silent in a corner, and yet be the one who attracts the most attention, not because you shouted, but because you held back. You contained your energy, your gaze, your very essence. This creates a magnetic silence, a suspension around you, as if everything around you needed to adjust its frequency. That's when you realize you no longer need to seek attention. You simply need to stop wasting what would make you irresistible. By ceasing to drain yourself of your energy, you finally begin to inhabit your own body. Your soul ceases to be scattered. Your energy, once fleeting, becomes a foundation. Your gait changes, your voice slows, your thoughts sharpen, and without a word, the world perceives it. For self-mastery is not merely a matter of desire, but of control. And those who master themselves leave their mark wherever they go. Some command respect with their words, others don't need to speak. They enter a room and everything shifts. The sound seems to fade. People shift their posture, their gazes avert or linger. This kind of presence cannot be manufactured. It can only be built from within. It is the power of contained, channeled, and transmuted sexual energy. It is not magic, it is magnetism. And this magnetism is silent yet irresistible. When a man represses his energy, he is actually recharging his own magnetic field. And when this field is saturated, it begins to communicate even before it arrives. You can sense that something resides there, something powerful, dangerous, and yet concentrated. This man has nothing to prove, because everything about him already affirms it. His silence is worth 1,000 words. His gaze is more penetrating than any speech, and his presence carries within it an invisible phrase: I belong to myself. The world respects those who belong to it. Most people seek attention by shouting, competing, and showing off. But great people don't act that way. They understand that the more you conserve your energy, the less you need to do. It's like fire, it doesn't need to spread. Simply being present is enough to earn respect. And here is the stark truth. A man overflowing with energy needs to beg for attention. A man overflowing with energy naturally commands respect, not because he is better, but because he is whole. And harmony in a fragmented world is a rarity. Women sense it, men sense it, the environment responds to it. It's as if the body is saying, I am in harmony, and if you wish to enter my presence, adapt. That is the true commandment. It is not the one who shouts, but the one who commands respect without resorting to force. This invisible yet perceptible energy, this firmness that needs no explanation, that is simply felt. And this presence does not stem from pride, but from self-control, from one who has learned to tame impulsiveness, reject easy comfort, and understand that saving is more precious than spending. True respect isn't earned through fear. It's granted spontaneously to those whose mere presence speaks volumes. So the next time you wonder how to be more respected, don't try to figure out what to say. Instead, reflect on what you've been holding back, because your presence is a reflection of what you haven't given. You can lie with words, conceal your intentions, feign confidence, but you can't fool a woman's instinct. Before a word is spoken, before the first touch, before the first glance, she has already sensed it. She has perceived the presence, the dominance, the energy, the emptiness. A woman's instinct is programmed to identify security, and security comes neither from money nor beauty nor a resume. It comes down to something more subtle, a man's energetic stability. A woman perceives this state. She notices when a man is at peace with himself, when his desire isn't excessive, when he isn't hungry but centered. And this perception is instantaneous. Perhaps she can't explain it. Perhaps she even contradicts herself. But her body has already reacted before her mind. Thus, when you begin to master yourself, to conserve your energy, to empty your mind, and to stop giving in to pleasure, the feminine perceives it, not because you are trying to attract, but because you have stopped pushing away. Men dominated by desire radiate anxiety, even if they try to appear self-assured. Something in their gaze betrays their haste, their need, their burning desire. A woman's body perceives this as a threat, something to avoid, to exploit, and then to reject. But when a man represses his energy, he exudes a quiet security. He desires nothing, demands nothing, begs for nothing. He simply feels whole. And this activates an ancestral response in the feminine. This man is a refuge. That's why often, without even saying a word, she watches you, notices you, approaches, examines you, senses your energy. And that energy reflects what you've done with her these past few days. If you've squandered it impulsively, she senses your weakness. If you take a thoughtful approach, she will perceive your leadership. Don't obsess over it nor trivialize it. The body speaks, instinct responds, and energy communicates. To consciously seduce women, there's no need to memorize lines. You must master your desire. In this way, your presence will speak for itself. He will sense it before he even understands it. The true warrior does not go to war to conquer. He goes to war in silence. And his silence is more eloquent than 1,000 words learned by heart. Nowadays, seduction has become a spectacle, a collection of formulas, techniques, emotional levers, and psychological games. But all these tricks have one thing in common. They only work on empty men. Because a man full of energy, presence, and discipline has no need to seduce. He doesn't convince, he proves nothing. He simply is. And that is enough. The silence of the warrior is different from that of the weak. The weak are silent out of fear. The warrior, out of self-control. He has already conquered himself. He has already fought against base desires. He has already faced the temptation to drain himself of all substance through the slightest distraction, and that is why he exudes an authority that speaks for itself. This man doesn't seem desperate. He doesn't seek eye contact to assert himself. His gaze is steady but not greedy. His posture is relaxed yet confident. His presence doesn't invite applause. He commands respect, and the women notice. They test him, ask him questions, joke with him, wait for a reaction. But the silent warrior doesn't respond. He makes his choice. He doesn't follow the rules because he understands that true value lies in discretion, not in impressing others. That's when a profound change occurs. The woman senses she's with a different man, not because he's better, but because he's not looking out for himself. That's true power, personal fulfillment. Seductive not for his technique, but for his integrity. Magnetic not for his effort, but for his accumulated energy. This man's silence conveys a message. What I have is enough for me. And this kind of silence is irresistible, because what is most sought after today is not beauty but presence, solidity. He is an upright, stable, self-aware man who, if he decides to speak, does so of his own free will, not out of obligation. So remember, the world doesn't need more seducers. It needs men who conserve their energy and their words, men whose silence teaches, men whose presence speaks. It's the silence of the warrior, the one who doesn't need to seduce because he already has self-control. You haven't said anything different. You haven't changed your tone. You haven't made any calculated gestures, and yet suddenly she's looking at you more closely, moving closer, or even seeming uncomfortable around you. And you wonder, what's changed? The answer lies not in what you did, but in what you didn't do. You did nothing. You have emptied yourself, you have stored that energy. And now your body speaks even before you have to. Most women don't even know how to name what they feel. But they feel it because the female body by nature is receptive. It perceives the environment before it speaks, the vibration before the intention, the presence before the appearance. When you accumulate sexual energy, not through repression but through cultivation, this energy intensifies around you. You begin to emanate something inviolable, an inner stability. And this activates a strong instinctive response, a solid structure, an active source. Even without conscious awareness, it reacts. Perhaps she'll approach him. Perhaps she'll feel uncomfortable. Perhaps she'll want to test him. Or perhaps she'll feel something that both attracts and frightens her. This is the impact of repressed masculine energy. And this is precisely where a true man distinguishes himself. He doesn't use it to manipulate. He remains grounded because his goal isn't to provoke a reaction, but to preserve his integrity. That's why you need to be attentive. When you begin to cultivate your energy, external reactions intensify, as do the challenges, because something within you has become exceptional. and anything exceptional generates movement around it. The woman understands that you're not there to beg for attention. You are whole, you're not thirsty, you are complete. And that changes their reaction. Their gaze intensifies, their questions become more relevant, their playful interactions more frequent. But make no mistake, it's not about being handsome or attractive. It's about creating the right atmosphere. And that atmosphere was built in silence, in the no you told yourself, in the discipline you maintained in secret, in the decision to resist when everyone was begging you to give in. So when the reactions come, and they will, don't lose your cool. Remember, you didn't do it for them. You did it for yourself. And what they're feeling now is simply a reflection of a man who has finally learned to believe in himself. Ultimately, the real difference between an ordinary man and a charismatic man comes down to one thing: who is master of their own body. Ordinary men belong to the world, to vice, to impulsiveness, to desire. They live for stimuli, a mere image, a provocation. An impulse is enough to make them succumb. They are always searching, always needy, always draining themselves of their essence. And the world feels it, women too. But the man who belongs to himself is different. She doesn't let herself get distracted by just anything. She doesn't waste her energy unnecessarily. She conserves it, saves it, and makes decisions. And that changes everything. Because what impresses a woman most isn't what you offer, but what you don't give so easily. She notices when you possess something precious and you don't give it away out of obligation. She knows when his gaze isn't desperate, when his body isn't pleading, "Please look at me," but rather, "I'm already whole. And if you want to come completely." It's this man she respects, not out of possessiveness, but because he knows himself. He's in control of himself. He knows where he's going. He knows who he is, what he feels, and what he's doing there. And this kind of presence is so rare that it becomes sacred. It's no longer about seducing, conquering, or impressing. It's about emanating something. The man who is at peace with himself transmits it effortlessly, in the tone of his voice, the rhythm of his breathing, the firmness of his gaze, the clear boundaries he sets without needing to threaten. And the woman senses it immediately. She feels she can't keep up with him. She senses that the closer he gets, the more she'll have to lower herself to his level, because he won't lower himself to hers. She feels like she's facing a man who doesn't need her to feel alive, and that's precisely why she desires him. The world is full of men who have lost themselves in the pursuit of attention, but a true man is one who has never betrayed himself. And this is palpable, for the body speaks. The aura communicates, and presence reveals what words cannot explain. It is the man who carries within him something priceless, inimitable, unappealing, inner sovereignty. And the woman who knows him, even without understanding him, and knows that this man belongs to himself. And that is why he is dangerous. Dangerous for games, dangerous for superficiality, dangerous for any relationship where truth is unwelcome, because when a man belongs to himself, the whole world revolves around him. If this video felt like a mirror to you, if any part reminded you of the man you could become, then don't ignore this call. Subscribe to the channel. This journey is just beginning. Each video is a spiritual tool to help you reconnect with yourself. Comment below, "I master my energy." Write this as a public promise, as if you've made a pact with yourself. Share this video with someone else who is silently struggling with desire. He needs to know he's not alone. The more you hold back, the higher you rise. The more you protect yourself, the more the world senses you. And when that happens, nothing is ever the same again.